What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for the instant match reaction as Spurs have lost by 1-0 here to Manchester City. Definitely a game of two halves, even though we didn't seem to score in both of them. But the first half, let's start there. I mean, let's start with the lineup first and foremost, because Sonny left on the bench, Decky left on the bench, Odebear out on the left-hand side, Brennan on the right, Tell up top, Maddison in the middle of the park. I mean,
it was toothless.
Yeah, I mean, it was. But on the face of things, I was happy with that lineup because I've been calling for Decky to have a rest. I've been calling for Sonny to have a rest. Yeah. I wasn't too sure about the Jed Spence one, him being left out. But I guess I was happy that these guys had a rest, but it didn't really make the desired impact.
But that's all you were happy for, just the rest.
Yeah, because it didn't make the desired impact that we wanted.
Yeah, it was just a bit toothless. It was so static. I mean, that first half, the whole of that first half, everyone was playing with their back to the Man City goal, weren't they? There was no real running off the ball. No one was on their toes. Very rarely was anyone actually coming to the ball. I think Bergvall did to a certain extent, trying to pick up the ball and make something happen. Yeah, it was just too lacklustre. There was no tempo to that first half whatsoever. In fact, I think Man City were just almost allowing us just to have the ball and almost, you know, just slow things down because they knew we didn't have the quality on the ball to do anything with. Second half was a completely different story. I don't know whether that was because we upped the tempo or City just took their foot off the gas, maybe a mixture of both. But it did look as though we had a little bit more dynamism to us, but still didn't really, I mean, what would you say, clear-cut chances? I mean, Danso had a few headers.
They weren't really clear-cut chances, though. He would have done well to put them in the back of the net. I mean, the big chance that we had was literally last kick of the game.
The Sarr header.
That was our biggest chance of the game, probably. Yeah. We did have a couple of other chances. You know, Sonny had one that, you know, he could have been doing better with. Yeah. But in the first half, it really was men against boys. That's the reality.
Chasing shadows.
Yeah, we were chasing shadows. We just couldn't get our foot on the ball. It was way too static. Yeah. And we just couldn't break them down for love nor money. And they had probably three real big chances. There was the one that they scored from. There's the one at Savinho at the back post. He's got to be doing there. And the other one that Haaland had, like in the middle of the penalty area. I mean,
and I can't believe they disallowed that goal as well, because to me that just didn't look. There wasn't enough in that for me for a handball. I don't know.
I probably need to see it again, even though I have seen it about 10 times here. But it was a strange one, though, wasn't it?
Strange, yeah. I'm surprised they gave that, or didn't give it, shall I say?
But you know, I think after that shit show, because the first half really was a shit show. I thought we were dreadful. I thought we came out with a new sense of energy. You know, we didn't make the changes like we were all calling for at half time, and I thought in the second half we showed a lot more about us.
Yeah, I would say, a little bit more. There was a little bit more risk-taking on the ball. They were like trying to pick. So I always think whenever our players pick up the ball when they're walking, nothing ever happens. But when they're picking up the ball whilst they're already running, stuff starts to happen. So you could see there was a little bit more of that second half, couldn't you? They're playing onto players that are running rather than just playing onto players that are just walking around. So there was a little bit of a shift in tempo and energy second half. Not enough to really change the game. What can we say? Danso, I thought, was decent. Apart from that, not many standout performances. Even for City, I don't even think Doku had a great game. He just had so much space on the left-hand side. Porro was doing his best moonwalk impression, wasn't he?
Porro was getting eaten alive in that first half. I thought in the second half he kind of stemmed the tide a bit and started to compete a lot better. And those gaps weren't as evident in the second half as they were in the first half.
He just doesn't go. If you know you've got players behind you or backing you up, at least one of you go to the man. You don't all back off at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's just a little bit of that with Porro. He doesn't quite know to sort of go to the man. Even if he does even if he has uses a bit of skill and gets past you, okay. But you've got Spurs players behind you. Don't just all back off, and that's what Porro tends to do quite a lot of the time. What about Tell?
Yeah, Tell. Another bit of a lacklustre performance. He had that kind of chance where he didn't get to the ball first. The Man City defender got there in front of him, and maybe Odebear should have taken the shot, but I think it was Odebear at the time. But yeah, he just flatters to deceive a little bit. Looks a bit lightweight up there in the number 9. I mean, if I'm judging, if I want to spend 60 million on him on the last couple of performances, I mean, the answer's no, but he's a young player, 19 years of age, got a big career ahead of him. He's got a lot of technical talent, in my opinion, but just hasn't been able to show it because I feel like he's just being wrestled out of games and out-muscled in games. I just think he's a bit lightweight.
And also sort of waiting for the ball to find him, whereas you can't do that in the Premier League. You've got to go and drop back a little bit and trying to create something. It's almost like you can't just wait. It's like a bit like Soldado, like you can't. Like it's never going to happen for you in the Premier League doing that.
We just need to prioritise the Europa League. Try and go on a consistent run in the Premier League, and if that's the case, then I think if we go and win the Europa League and I think he'll keep his job.
So if we win the Europa, but it doesn't matter about the league position, if we're still bottom half of the table, would you still say keep?
Yeah, I think you have to if you win Europa League.
Okay,
It's like our most successful manager.
All right, so don't win the Europa, then what's got to happen in the league for him to keep his place?
Go on a very, very good run. Like, win the majority of the games.
That's too intangible, though, isn't it? Is it not?
Why is that?
Well, so league position, what do you think?
Like, you've got a 8th or above. Try and get European competition.
Okay, all right. Yeah, okay.
Even 7th or above. You need to get...
yeah.
If you're not winning the Europa League, I think you have to get into the European competitions. In the league.
Fair. Yeah. I think that's a good target. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So,
right. Yeah.
that is our instant match reaction, guys.